All right, back live tonight, here on In Focus. There have been mixed reaction to the new Pension Fund Amendment Act signed into law by President Cyril Ramaphosa. The new system will provide members of retirement funds with the ability to access part of the retirement savings without having to resign or cash out their pension funds. Federation of Union of South Africa General Secretary Riefdah Ajam is joining me now for more on that conversation. Let me ask you also tonight, 072110554. Do you think this is a costly way of getting your money, considering, of course, that the savings component attracts higher tax than what you would normally pay when you are withdrawing your retirement funds a little bit earlier? But let's hear what the Labour thinks of this. Riefdah, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. Although Labour did not really get everything that you proposed, how do you feel about this bill?
Well, I think it's absolutely victorious from us as FEDUSA. One would be able to say it is absolutely long overdue, and we believe that this piece of legislation should have been signed even before the elections. It's been a good couple of years since we have been negotiating on the process, and eventually its fruition will come to par on the 1st of September 2024. So in times of those emergencies, this new regime will most certainly provide some form of lifeline.
What are the matters, key matters, that you still feel maybe at a later stage you might still want to revisit?
Well, for now, the most important elements have been captured in the legislation. FEDUSA has always been an ambassador and extremely vocal in terms of the principle of preservation to ensure that our members are able to retire in a dignified manner without being subjected or placing additional pressures on the government system to be able to stand in those queues in terms of the grant payouts. So for now, we have been extremely cautious in terms of what it is that we had wanted as part of the legislation. And we believe that by applying prudence in terms of the elements that have been captured in this piece of legislation, it brings us comfort that we will not be robbing the bank at all given stages, considering that there will be the two pots that the system outlines, but ensuring at the end of the day that when you do retire, you do have sufficient funds on hand to be able to do so comfortably and in a dignified manner.
So the others are looking at this. I think they would have raised the question of what is called forced preservation. You're saying it's not forced preservation. You are for this approach, this shift in retirement contribution, where at least one portion is certainly made accessible, but the other making sure that it saves for the future.
Absolutely. This has been FEDUSA's position for many years and continues to be the position. We have seen hardships in many instances where people have easy access to their pensions. And we understand that South Africa being the most unequal society in the world, emergencies do arise. But with that comes the responsibility of being able to preserve. So for us, this is a step in the right direction. This is what we have been calling for and promoting for in many instances. And as they say, when you have money, you have lots of friends. But when the money dries up, the friends all disappear. So for too long, we have seen that happening. And this is most certainly something that allows people to have that soft landing, to access only just a small portion in times of emergencies, but knowing full well that in your twilight years, when you need the funds most, you will be able to have access to that without having to be subjected to the indignity of the funds that are on hand via the grant payouts.
So you've got two components. You've got the savings component, you've got the retirement component. Others are even saying maybe it's a three-pot because you've got the vested component as well, which is only going to be once off. But to discourage impulsive withdrawals, they've attached a marginal tax there, which generally is higher than the rate that you would otherwise pay when you are making early withdrawals on your retirement. How do you feel about that?
Well, most certainly, this is the safety net that has been built into the legislation to discourage any worker from accessing those funds at random. We have seen the implications, and our motto and our cause that we are championing at this stage as a federation remains number one, sensitization, and number two, education. It's important, and we are in principle and with jest drawing our members' attention towards the boogeyman, i.e. SARS, to say to them that when you are accessing, you need to understand that the taxable implication of this particular early withdrawal also has its consequences. So only in times of emergencies, and most certainly when we were in process of negotiations, the mandate from our National Executive Committee was to make it as such that you are able to access only in those times of emergencies, but not to make it an easy point of contact whenever you need these things. And we did not want our members to become adventurous. And for this reason, it gives us that comfort. But most certainly, yes, the attention is drawn now to the fact that it's somewhat of a double tax burden, because you're going to be taxed each time you apply to access the savings spot. But then ultimately also on retirement, there's also the tax that the second pot, your retirement pot, will be subjected to. So it's all about awareness and sensitization to make sure that our members are educated and financially literate when they take those difficult decisions.
Has that education been done? I mean, necessary education from all the players, as you put it. You've got the pension funds themselves, you've got the consumers, and you've got the boogeyman, the taxman on the other side. Have all these players come together to ensure that the necessary education is dispensed of?
Well, I certainly cannot speak on behalf of the entire collective. I represent organized labor, specifically FEDUSA, and from our side, we have been partnering with those very institutions that you are talking about now, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, many of the big financial players in the market when it comes to long-term savings, investment, and insurance. And FEDUSA's process has started way in advance. When the legislation was there, and I'm sure many of your viewers would understand the ravages of COVID-19 and what it had brought about. But for now, we have already embarked on this journey of education, sensitization, and awareness since as early as May 2024. We've been having nationwide rollouts in collaboration with those very partners that you have referred to, and I've equally highlighted, to ensure that our members at all levels of society, in particular in the outlying rural areas of South Africa, where information is not always easily accessible to. So from our side, we are educating our members to ensure that they make informed and educationally sound decisions that will be beneficial to them in the long run. It's easy to access that savings spot. It's easy to create a need, but it becomes extremely difficult and somewhat undignified when the time comes when you really need those funds in the actual retirement pot. So our mission for this year and beyond is to continue to raise awareness to ensure that our members are able to retire in comfort as they should be.
Are you comfortable then where you are sitting now that the systems and the processes are ready? You know, for example, we speak of the 350 social release of distress grant, and the system was introduced. It had major hiccups. Others couldn't understand the system, how it works. It was later then changed again. There was a new regime of limitations. If money comes into your account and all of a sudden you don't see the 350 anymore, and so on and so forth, reducing the number of those who are gaining access. Do you think in this particular instance, the systems and the processes are ready? So the pension fund managers know what to do, how much to allocate. Consumers know what they need to do. The taxman knows how to tax and put all the monies in the right places.
Well, as they say, the devil is in the detail. And in this instance, it is, as you say, in that very finer detail when it comes to implementation. But I can tell you that there will be a revolt if the systems are not going to be speaking to how and what and how they should be. Government has been speaking about this for a very long time, from the onset of preservation. All the social partners in this instance are working together because it's all your pension fund regimes in South Africa, including your provident funds, that have come together to ensure that hopefully a foolproof system can be put in place. There will always be gremlins here and there, but we most certainly don't want another revolt. We have seen what has happened with government when their systems are not talking to one another effectively, but we want to believe that with the political will to make this a success, that when in those times of need, workers are able to access, but workers with the responsibility, albeit, need to ensure what needs to happen. So we will be there as organised labour to ensure that government is able to account, and that oversight functionary is there at all given stages. And I believe that a monitoring mechanism will be in place to allow for 1 September 2024 to start off on a smooth footing.
Riefdah Ajam, appreciate your time as always. Thanks so much for coming on. She speaks on behalf of the Federation of Unions of South Africa. She is the General Secretary there.